Video opens with the host at a dining table. A friend is enthusiastically trying to pour them more wine, water, juice. Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! Enough! Enough! Thanks! Host turns to the camera. You know that gesture, right? The flat hand, palm down, waving. It's the universal signal for stop! That's enough. No more. We use it when someone's pouring a drink, piling food on our plate, or maybe even when a friend is telling a story that's getting a little too long. It's so simple, so intuitive, that we barely even think about it. But have you ever stopped to wonder where it actually comes from? Why this specific motion? Why not a fist? Or 2 fingers up? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating and surprisingly complex origin of the enough gesture. It's a story that takes us back through centuries of human interaction. Social etiquette, and the very core of nonverbal communication. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at this simple hand signal the same way again. So, let's start with the basics. What does the gesture physically represent? At its core, the flat, downward-facing palm is a blocking or capping motion. Imagine you're literally putting a lid on a container. You're creating a barrier, a horizontal line that says, do not cross this point. This is the upper limit. Anything more is too much. The side-to-side motion reinforces this limit, essentially smoothing out or leveling off the surface. It acts like a construction worker using a trowel to flatten wet cement. This is the final, finished level. No more needs to be added. This barrier concept is a powerful, primal form of communication. Long before we had complex languages, our ancestors used gestures to signal danger, indicate direction, and establish boundaries. A raised, open palm can mean stop or halt, a universal sign of non-aggression. Our enough gesture is a subtle variation of this. It's less of an emergency stop and more of a gentle but firm boundary setting. It's not stop everything you're doing. It's stop the specific action. To find some of the earliest documented roots, we have to look to ancient cultures, particularly those where communal dining and hospitality were central to social life. Think of the lavish banquets of the Roman Empire or the grand feasts of medieval Europe. In these settings, a host's honor was tied to their generosity. Refusing food or drink could be seen as an insult. You couldn't just say no, thanks. Especially if you were a guest of lower status. It would be disrespectful. So, a nonverbal cue was nadita, polite way to signal satiation without causing offense. Placing a hand flat over one's cup or plate became the accepted method. This was a clear, physical barrier. You can't pour more wine into a cup that's covered by a hand. It was discreet, respectful, and got the message across without a single word. The host's generosity was acknowledged, but the guest's limit was respected. This simple act of covering the vessel is likely the direct ancestor of our modern gesture. Over time, this very practical action evolved and became more abstract. You didn't always have to physically touch your cup. As social etiquette became more refined, simply gesturing asterisk over asterisk the cup or plate was enough. People understood the symbolic meaning. The hand hovering over the area meant consider this covered. From there, it's a short leap to the gesture we use today. You don't even need a cup or plate anymore. The gesture itself has become untethered from the physical objects. It now represents the asterisk concept, asterisk of being full or reaching a limit. The side-to-side motion likely got added for emphasis. A static flat hand might be missed or misinterpreted. But adding movement makes it much more noticeable. It draws the eye and reinforces the leveling off or smoothing out idea we talked about earlier. It's like waving a little flag that says we've reached the top right here. This horizontal sweeping motion is also seen in other contexts. Think about a referee in some sports waving their arms horizontally to signal no score, or an umpire calling a runner safe with a similar sweep. The horizontal line is a powerful symbol of negation or completion. It's also fascinating to look at how this gesture compares to others around the world. While the flat hand wave is widely understood in Western cultures and many parts of Asia, it's not the only way to say enough. in some Middle Eastern and Mediterranean regions. A slight upward tilt of the head accompanied by a soft TSK sound conveys the same meaning. In other places, you might see someone raise a single index finger. This just goes to show how different cultures develop their own unique nonverbal languages. However, the palm-down gesture has become incredibly widespread, thanks in large part to globalization in media. Movies, television, and now the internet have broadcast Western cultural norms, including our body language, all over the planet. So, even in a place with its own traditional gesture for enough, our little hand wave is likely to be understood. It's become part of a global vocabulary of signs. But the gesture isn't just for food and drink. Its meaning has expanded dramatically. Think about it. You might use it to stop someone from giving you too many instructions. Okay? Okay, I get it. That's enough information for now. Or to cut off a debate that's getting too heated. Alright, that's enough. Let's agree to disagree. In this sense, the gesture isn't about physical fullness, but mental or emotional capacity. You're signaling that your brain or your patience is full. The invisible container of your attention has reached its limit. This evolution is what makes body language so incredible. A practical action covering a cup transforms over centuries into a symbolic gesture, which then broadens its meaning to cover abstract concepts like information overload or emotional boundaries. It is a living piece of our history that we carry around at the end of our arms. So the next time you re-at a gathering and a generous host is about to give you a third helping of mashed potatoes you really do need, and you instinctively throw out that flat hand and give it a little wave, take a moment to appreciate the journey that gesture has been on. You're not just saying no, thank you. You're participating in a tradition of nonverbal communication that stretches back through Roman feasts and medieval halls. A tradition built on the simple, elegant idea of creating a boundary. You're capping the container, leveling the surface, and speaking a silent, universal language. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? A simple flick of the wrist carrying centuries of social history. Thanks so much for hanging out and exploring this with me today. If you found this interesting, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. Got any other gestures you've always wondered about? Let me know down in the comments. Until next time, stay curious.